I'm so happy. Wow, what a day. I don't have to do a sermon today. Alan and Einstein did the sermon for me. Wonderful. If many of you receive the bulletin on your way in or receive our wonderful e-blast that Liz sends out and does so much work to get out every week, you saw that today's message title was Three Faces, One God. And I think Alan did that absolutely perfectly. So that's false advertising. I'm going to talk about the other thing Alan was sharing in his meditation, and that's the effects of enlightenment on the brain. Today we're going to explore ever-changing concepts of our own personal experience of the divine, how that affects us. All religions and all spiritual practices begin with a fundamental idea, a belief of what God is. And throw those ideas away, please. Get rid of those ideas because they're blocking an ever-evolving experience of what God really is. We can experience a beautiful meditation like that and have a new experience of God, new ideas and new beliefs begin to come in. And we can allow those to expand. Because when you're stuck on a certain thought, your brain cannot move, cannot grow, cannot experience new things. So I love the idea of using imagery. A beautiful image of the tennis ball in the box. The divine is within us, and yet the divine is more than we can imagine. It cannot be contained within a specific idea, and yet it contains all the specific ideas. So I'm not asking you not to have beliefs. I'm asking you to have an ever-changing, ever-growing, and ever-evolving belief system based on experience. Like the experience that we had just now with that meditation. That's more real than anything you think is going on in your mind. I just came back from a Unity conference, the Eastern Region Conference in Potomac, Maryland. And it was a wonderful event. And it really was needed for me. I really need to feel connected to the greater community of Unity and the New Thought movement. And so the Eastern region is all the Unity churches and spiritual centers from Maine all the way down to West Virginia. So it includes Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York, Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, West Virginia. Did I leave anybody out? Pennsylvania. And New Jersey. Are you from New Jersey? I'm sorry, but... Joyzy. What exit? 14, he said. Awesome. So there's 86 Unity centers, churches and spiritual centers within those states. They serve millions of people. And I don't know, there was about a couple hundred of us there. And the main presenter there was a guy named Dr. Mark Waldman, and he wrote a book, How God Changes Your Brain. And he wrote a book, Words Can Change Your Brain. Words can change your brain, the way you think. And his latest book, he wrote several books, but his latest one is How Enlightenment Changes the Brain. So it was all about the effects of enlightenment on the brain. So Alan, you didn't know anything about that, did you? Synchronicity. Synchronicity. We live in synchronicity. And when you're attuned to that synchronicity, it makes life a lot easier. Because I'm not struggling with God, with universal mind, with the spirit that knows all, sees all, and is all, as to what is going on around here. I know what's going on. Our minds are in communication because our minds are in the divine. And that bridge you're building in your brain, it's also built between what you see as separate people. Because our mind is one, we can also have an experience of resonating with one another. You've heard that term a lot. We use it a lot. A lot of you healers, a lot of the New Age practitioners use that word resonate quite a bit. And what Dr. Waldman was saying is there's a cognitive resonance that you immediately feel, for instance, with someone you love. When you see your beloved, what happens to you? Your heart starts beating fast. Something starts occurring in your body. You start having thoughts and memories of all the times that you love each other and all the things you've done together and all the healing that you've experienced. Maybe the hard times you've been through together. All those things start coming into your mind. Where are all those things happening? In your memory, in the brain. And he dispelled a really nice illusion that Alan dispelled in the meditation as well, that there aren't two separate halves to your brain, really. They're in communication all the time. Yes, they may have different functions, but they function better together. You can't have creative thoughts and not put them in action. You can't be just acting without compassion and creativity. You have to be acting from that place of compassion and creativity. So the logical mind has to follow the spiritual mind. It's a good servant of the divine. And it needs to be incorporated. We need to incorporate all of it. Our past and future have to come together in a mindful now. So the other presenter was an amazing lady. You know her. A lot of you, somebody said she's been here before, Reverend Paulette Pipe. And she goes way back with Ellen and Steve. They were all in Unity Village together. She still lives there, Kansas City, Missouri, and she's really amazing. Her ministry is about stillness and mindfulness and meditation. And we did a lot of combining the Eastern meditation with Unity thought. And it was amazing what it did to our brain. I was amazed to have the Professor Waldman first, because he spent 3 days working with us, getting us ready, describing what's going on in not just you personally, but in the resonance field that you create with people. And then the next 2 days we spent creating that resonance field through mindfulness. And you're going to hear a lot about mindfulness in the coming weeks. Lily's joined an organization called Calmer Choice, which works with children. And yes, the executive director of Calmer Choice, Fiona, what's her last name? Jensen. Fiona Jensen will be here. She'll be our guest speaker November 27th. And there'll be a lot more being talked about and experienced in this realm of mindfulness in the next few weeks. Oh, look at this picture. This is me. I know. Who is that guy in the back? This is This is the new CEO of Unity Worldwide. He's a big, huge guy. Jim Blake. Wonderful guy. He started out printing the Daily Word. He was working in the print shop. Now he's the CEO of Unity Worldwide. This guy runs all the PR for the whole organization worldwide. This lady has been the director of Silent Unity. That's Ogun Holder, the minister up in Amesbury, Unity on the River. And there's some exuberant participant at the conference photobombing them. So basically, Dr. Waldman wanted us to remind us, don't believe everything you think. Your brain cannot distinguish between inner and outer reality. So whatever you're telling yourself in your brain is what you believe to be reality, even if it has nothing to do with reality. And 90% of what we think, this guy's a neuroscientist, and he's saying 90% of what you think has nothing to do with reality. So there must be another kind of way to experience reality. And he was proposing, like this wonderful teacher from the East. How do you say that again, Patricia? Nisargadatta Maharaj. I love this guy's teaching. To know that you are a prisoner of your own mind and that you live in an imaginary world of your own creation is the dawn of wisdom. You don't want to admit that. It's very fearful to think that you live in an imaginary world of your own creation. Sounds a lot like A Course in Miracles to me. Plato's allegory in the cave. It's amazing synchronicity. One mind, one truth, many expressions. I love it. So here's an expression that came from Hyannis. I went and visited the Kennedy place over here. They have a little, right uptown Hyannis, a little tiny museum for John F. Kennedy. It's amazing. I think he's one of the greatest guys that was ever involved in politics. And his place is this little tiny building in Hyannis. And I like that. I mean, there's the Kennedy Center and all that. But the thing that got me was, I was watching a video. And he said whenever he had a difficult decision to make that affected millions of people, he'd come here and he'd walk on the beach. And he would get clear. And answers would come to him. And that's the kind of mind that he was. Answers would come to him that seemed like they were coming from some divine source. And I really respect leaders like that. So he said something very interesting to me. Lily and I found a book downstairs, and we gave it to my mom. It's called The Healing of America by Marianne Williamson. And in it, I found this quote on the bottom that says, all too often we enjoy the comfort of opinion without the discomfort of thought. We're not thinking, we don't want to think deeply about something. It creates too much responsibility within us. Creates too much discomfort because now I have to do something. I have to put those divine thoughts into action. Or else they stay on this side of the brain. I'm not utilizing the whole brain to bring it forth into manifestation. So we all have opinions about everything, but how many of us are actually out there expressing the divine through enlightened thought? The great enemy of truth is often not the lie, deliberate, contrived, and dishonest, but the myth, persistent, persuasive, and unrealistic. So you can deal with something, if it's a lie and it's like right out front, you can say, oh, I can deal with that. I can look at that and I know how to respond. But a myth, an opinion that's persistent, a thought in the mind that you plant there and it grows. And it doesn't have anything to do with reality. What did John F. Kennedy say? Unrealistic. That is more of the great enemy of truth. And truth is going to correct all those errors in my mind. As we affirm the truth, as we come together more and more often and affirm the truth, the errors in my mind of who I think I am, what I think God is, who I think all you guys are, all my ideas. Truth will correct those errors in my mind. And what is the truth? Well, the truth is an experience. And here's a beautiful experience that was shared with us from a Native American Oglala Lakota chief called Black Elk. I'd like to read it to you. It's beautiful. While I stood there, I saw more than I can tell. And I understood more than I saw, for I was seeing in a sacred manner the shapes of all things in the Spirit and the shape of shapes, as they must live together like one being. Sounds a lot like the golden orb inside of me and I inside the golden orb. I saw the shape of shapes. Seeing in a sacred manner. I think that's really what unity is all about. We live in a limitless universe with potential for unlimited ideas. So it's a good idea to allow my ideas to grow, to expand, to let go of those fixed beliefs that keep me separate from you, to let go of my opinions and embrace thought. To truly embrace thought. Oh, I learned a really great affirmation at this. I'm going to teach it to you, okay? You ready for a new affirmation? I learned it at the Eastern Region Conference of Unity. You have to stand up to do it, though. And all you have to do is repeat after me. Are you ready? Now, you are part of the Eastern Region, right? Okay. So, we are the Eastern, mighty, mighty region. We are the Eastern, mighty, mighty region. One more time. We are the Eastern, mighty, mighty region. Hoo, ha, hoo, ha, hoo, ha, hoo, ha, hoo, ha, hoo, ha, hoo. You may be seated. We did a lot of active meditation and experience with those guys this past week. I just want to tell you guys how wonderful it is to be part of this community, to be able to represent what we have here at the Eastern Region was phenomenal. It was beautiful. And even though we're just like photobomb experts right now, everybody knows who we are. And and it's growing. We're part of 86 spiritual centers in the Eastern Region. You're connected to millions of people who are thinking unity thoughts, an unlimited universe with unlimited ideas. And that universe lives in you as much as you live in the universe. The whole universe lives in you. And we gather together, not just on Sundays, but it's more like our whole lives are now spiritual lives. I call it the spiritual lifestyle because everything is focused on bringing forth the knowledge and experience of God within you, God out there, and God everywhere. So very soon I will bring you that talk, 3 Faces, 1 God. But for now, just know that I love you, I bless you, I appreciate you, and I behold the Christ in you. Namaste.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.